ほら、ルフィ、今一緒に海賊になる仲間を探してるんだ。
Hello guys, welcome to my channel The Wandering Zoro, your go-to destination for anime-related content. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on our latest videos. In today's video, we're going to be diving into part 4 of the series What If Quirkless Deku trained in another universe and returned to become the strongest hero. So be sure to stick around until the end, and let's get started. So this is the day. Lord Seneschal Fafnir ran Imperial First Legion on the 13th day of Secundus as the Siege of Terra began. 014.M31 Izuku POV 8 long years have passed since our vengeance on Istvan V. It has been a long campaign. Horus and his traitors have gathered a strong army to force our hands on multiple battlefields through the galaxy. As systems were lost and taken back, millions of lives were being used to do this. It made me furious that one person would cause all of this pain and suffering due to being jealous and not feeling admiration for making the Imperium whole. As the war continued, we all knew the main battle for the galaxy would take place on the holy world of Terra. As Rogel was doing his best to set up the defenses on the planet, some of my men helped to improve and make them more deadly for Horus and his men. In the time, Rogel had sent out a Vox message to all loyalist forces to meet in Terra for the upcoming battle. Sadly, there were complications. War Chambers. Rogel. Brother Gilliman, are you and your forces all right on Kolth? We know the World Bearers are attacking you hard, and Izuku had sent some of his forces there to provide support. Gilliman. We are doing okay, although we are pushed back. We are holding our ground. Izuku forces started to land not too long ago, and they are providing much-needed support with their forces and bombers. Gilliman. But we may not be able to make it to Terra with how the battle is. Zardalayak forces are holding us down, but we will do our best. Izuku. Gilliman, focus there, my brother. We actually have some of your forces that I pick up at Makridge. I diverted half to you and others to Terra. Gilliman. Thank you, Izuku. That will help a lot. Any other forces are heading to Terra. I have reports that some of Horus' forces are gathering on the outskirts of Mars. Rogel. Yes, Brother Jagatai Kai has arrived with the White Scars. They are preparing for the future battle right now. Rogel. And Izuku finishing the defenses for the inner walls. Him and his forces are actually taking the lead in the battle. Rogel. The palace has extra turrets and shields in case Horus try to warp in. Magnus and Lehman are making the warp drop. Now they should be here during the first few hours of conflict. Rogel. I had sent for reinforcements. Some have arrived, but one group did not. Sotha was under attack by a Rouge group of Night Lords that had joined Horus. They had gone to help Dantiok with holding the world. Gilliman. Dantiok is in trouble. I had taken him and his fellow Iron Warriors that stay loyal to us, and due to his skill and craft, he master in fortification works. He has helped my world become more fortified. I hope that our men can hold. Izuku. I had sent a message to another group of Death Watch near the area. They will head there as quick as possible to help. Gilliman. Thank you, Izuku. That will be very helpful to them. But now we must stay focused on the task at hand. I will focus on ending this battle quickly and rush our forces to Terra after. Rogel. We will wait for your arrival, then brother, fight well. In Vox call. Now Izuku, back to our task here till our brothers arrive. Izuku. Very well. This will be a deadly battle. Luckily, we got most of the civilians out when we could and prepare for this. Izuku walks outside on one of the palace's ledges, seeing how troops were preparing, as he knows most of them won't make it back home. In the 7 years, he has made new advancement in their armor to give them a fighting chance, better weapons for his militarum that will give them a chance against the traitors. As Izuku Titan's legions get into positions around the city, he talks to Rogel once again about how the plane will go out, how it will play out, and how they will lead the traitors down one path. Izuku see that the spaceports are the most valuable, and that's where most of the traitor forces will head. The towers we build there will help the defenders until we send the signal to pull back to the main defense point. Rogel. This is brilliant, Izuku. These towers will do well. I also saw the artillery you brought to the field behind the lines, but you said that Horus would need to head to the palace. May I ask why? Izuku. Sigh. Sits on the ledge. Honestly, me and Sanguinius foresaw the end of the battle, and Sanguinius believes he won't make it. He will die to Horus. Izuku. But I told him when I was on ball with him that I would not let him or Terra fall. I will die before any of you die. Rogel puts hands on his shoulders. None of us will die, I promise you that. We will all make it out of this battle together. Izuku smiles and thanks Rogel for that, and continues to explain the situations. As they retreat to the main defense point, the artillery will cover the retreat while we get in position. When the artillery stops, Corvus Alfarius and Omegon will hit and run them from the back, slowing them down more, as Jagatai Kai and his forces will harass the other port and try to take it back when the time is right. Rogel, very clever. Izuku hitting them from the rear and the front will slow them down for our forces to hit them hard. Makes me proud seeing strategy like this. Izuku. Thank you, brother. Now the first stage of hitting their forces is about to begin. They think Mars had fallen, but we were able to stop the rebellion and finish off most of them. Izuku. I order them to send transport to pretend they were sending supplies, but most of the ships will have explosives on them to hit their fleet. As the autocannons prepare to hit them and destroy as many as they can before the next step on Lunar, it's still weird's not calling it mood. Rogel. Yes, it was weird for us all, but excellent surprise attack with ships. It will certainly cause damage to his fleet and forces. Maybe try to aim for his Titan. Carries the less of them, the more we have better chance. Izuku. Very well. Look, the ships are approaching near Mars. Gets on Vox. Fabricator General Zagrus Kane. You may begin the first stage and have your forces ready for the upcoming attacks. On Mars. Fabricator General Zagrus Kane. Very well, Warmaster. We are beginning stage 1. All ships go and supply the traitor. Main targets are transports and Titan carries. Fabricator General Zagrus Kane. All forces prepare for invasion and battle. We have Deathwatch Company with us to fight, and we thank them for the assist. Praise the Omniscient to our victory. As the ships were sent to Horus' fleet, Horus believed this was proof of his victory on Mars and told all ships to accept what they were sending. Some of Horus' men question if that is okay to do without checking, but Horus ignored them as he told the fleet to be ready to strike Terra. As the ships enter the docking areas in the target ships, timers were counting down. As the servitors begin to head next to the ships, some other transports were flying to others as they were next to important parts of certain ships. As the last remaining ships land in the transports, timers were all reaching 0 till a loud explosion occur. Horus. What was that status report now? Admiral Ramus. Sir, explosions are going off on all the ships that took the supplies. Gets alert. Sir, planetary guns are lock on and firing on us. Horus. Move the fleet to Terra now. We must the invasion on the way without losing any more forces. Send a small force to attack. Mars now crush those fanatics of a false god. As a small part of the fleet containing Iron Hand and some world bearers since Zardu decided to join Horus cause start their descent to surface. But taking heavy causalities due to the heavy anti-air and surface weapons of the Mechanicum, this will be a difficult battle for sure. Horus' fleet continues the push towards Terra. They are being bombarded by defense orbit on Luna, where Horus order a kamikaze attack on the orbital station so they may attack Luna itself. The battle barge known as War Oath activates its thruster at full speed and begin its attacks on the orbital station. The battle barge hits and destroys the station. Commanded by Horus, a small group went to assault the planet's surface. Drops pods finally impact the surface of Luna as troops run towards the base and find it empty. Reporting to Horus, this was confusing to him until the planetary base explodes, finishing all the troops that were sent to the surface. Days before the attack, Izuku personally went to the moon and explained the situation to the group of people known as Selenar cults. Were thankful that Izuku came personally to warn them about what was to come and decided to join them on Terra for the defense of it. Horus, furious of the events that happened, began to attack the fleet that was stationed over Terra, destroying loyalist ships as he continues his push to begin the assault. 30 days of intense battle in space resulted to most of the loyalist ships being destroyed, but it did cause Horus some ships, as well cutting his fighting force more. On the last day, the remaining loyalist ships began to fall back as Horus ships moves into low orbit above the city. But he didn't notice that the ships that remain were heading to the location of the hidden battle stations of Izuku, ready to set ambush on Horus' fleet. The skies were full of traitor ships blacking the skies, as they begin to set up for a bombardment of the city and the areas around it, to beginning to land forces on the planet. For 12 days, non-stop bombardments hit the void shields trying to break it, but it didn't do anything to them at all. On the 13 days of Secundus, the bombardment had stopped and thousands of drop pods began to fall on their way to the surface. Turrets on towers began to turn on and began their firing on the pods, shooting down many as they could, spreading fire all over since too many drop pods and ships were coming down to the surface. The first to land on the surface were the Iron Warriors, preparing their forces to move on the spaceports. Landing next to them were World Bearers, World Eaters, and finally the traitor auxiliaries landed, grabbing the prisoners from their slave worlds and sacrificing them to the Chaos Gods. As the Immaterium broke apart, Chaos forces started appearing from there, releasing greater demons and Chaos forces as well. The assault began as Izuku legions, and the Militarum fought off the waves, but slowly they were being pushed back. Izuku, seeing the situation on the special cams he places, saw the threat that was coming and activated the towers on the spaceports. While doing that, calling Magnus on the Vox channel to explain the situation. Magnus informed him that he and his forces with Lehman forces as well, they should be there soon, and to use my scare forces to fight against them. Izuku understood and ordered his forces from the wall to begin an orderly retreat towards the palace walls. As traitor forces push on the wall, some forces stood their ground like Rylaner and 4 others of his men, as the rest guide the men to the main defense wall. Rylaner began to fire on the forces that was near the port with his brothers, and surprising some of the Militarum, as well giving them cover as they slowly moving back, giving covering fire for all forces retreating. Turrets activate slowly down the traitors more from winning the ports completely. Perturabo and Fulgrim were furious about the number of losses that their men were taking and how slow the progress were. Perturabo and Fulgrim were shocked about what their forces were suffering. Perturabo impressed of the defenses that it was destroying his tanks and completely took out his first company Terminator squads, making it harder for his men to push up. Fulgrim was furious to see his former sons attacking his men, especially Rylaner, since his men respected him a lot. This was a battle not going to go their way. At the other spaceport, the situation wasn't better for the traitors as Onran tried to force the defenders to surrender. Sadly, for him, Izuku men were there, and sanguineous blood angels as well. Furious Onran told his man to charge the defensives. 3 times they charged the defense, and 3 times they failed to even make a scratch to the defense. Onran was getting angrier seeing his men fail, as he told them to make it over or face his wrath, as he decided to withdraw from the attack. The last charge finally got them over the wall. As they prepare for the slaughter, they noticed the port was empty, until they were being shot at by the turrets and towers, being bogged down and pinned by them. It was going to be a struggle. Rogel, Izuku, all forces are retreating to the palace while Horus forces are advancing slowly thanks to the turrets. But it seems Horus is sending in Titans to clear the way. Izuku, wait till they're closer, then launch the rockets at them, and they use the surface guns on them as well. Have all force prepare for battle, and get ready to tell Conrad Corvus and Alfarius and Amagon to prepare to attack. Rogel, understand, will get on the Vox now and relay the message. Izuku gets on the Vox. Admiral Varus, prepare the ambush on the fleet. What are the odds look like up there? Admiral Varus, it seems to be 5-1, sir. A good fight ahead. We will prepare for the attack. Bombers and fighters will be there to support your forces once we clear enough forces here. Izuku, understood. Happy hunting, Admiral. As the defense forces make their way behind the wall, shields goes up as in the distance tower began to fall due to Titans walking and clearing a path towards the palace walls. Izuku, looking that the Titans are finally clear waves of war fan, he made in honor of his country as artillery and the guns begin their barrage. Multiple Titans were hit, as the men following them were also finished off by the barrage. Titans fell from the firepower, crumbling more buildings, blocking paths for the traitors. As the Imperium forces finish their preparations for attack, Izuku waves his fan again, giving a signal to release a flare. A flare as bright as the sun went into the air as the traitors' legions gave a confusing look with why one was released. Corvus had spotted it from his position as he signaled the others to prepare to attack them from the rear. As the traitors finally made it near the wall, Perturabo and Fulgrim with their ally Zardalayak and his remaining world bearers see the wall. On the right side, Perturabo was impressed by it how defensible it is, but noticing that his remaining troops artillery, and vehicles may not be enough to take the push even with his brother's legions. Fulgrim see how dangerous the charge will be, and even with his sons thinking how to challenge this, it would be too difficult. On the left, Mordorion and his sons of the Death Guard reach near the wall and see the defensive the turrets and the dangers of it. Seeing his troops' numbers dwindle so much in the initial assault, he had taken heavy casualties. Zardalayuk and the forces of chaos had joined him but only wanted one thing: revenge for his Primarch death, to finish Izuku and use the body for a ritual. Horus from his new flagship called Reaper's Wrath was watching, seeing that it was soon leading to the final stages and his possible victory. Horus ordered his troops to attack without mercy, to finish off all these loyalist trash for the Chaos Gods. And for his victory, as the battle had begun, Izuku ordered the men to hold their ground till their last breath, till their last moments, till they could do no more. Izuku, brothers of the Imperium, today, and for as long as we survive, for as long we hold our breath, we show these traitor monsters that we are not to be trifle with, that we will defend each part of our tower till the last man. Izuku, we will push back these traitors for our homes, for our families, for the Imperium. Forward, sons of the Emperor, let none make it thorough hold this line. The men cheer and get into their positions, and as they watch the traitors get closer, all commanders of the Militarum, the chapter masters with their legion brothers, all stood together, shields locked into place. Once the traitors got closer, they began to open fire. Hundreds of traitors started falling to their deaths as the battle for the inner palace began. At the rear, heavy guns brought into the help with the siege were firing on the loyalists, hopping to help end this siege quickly for their warmaster. Suddenly, an explosion occurred at one of the guns. As Iron Hand warriors look, they were cut down easily like butter by the thunder claws of the Raven Guard. As they try to counterattack, more Iron Hands were cut down by Night Lords as they continued to kill them with Raven Guards. Guards rushed to the scene, leaving the guns unprotected. Fighting continues in the rear as Corvus, Conrad join their sons in fighting and finishing the traitors as the guns keep exploding due to Alpha Legion sneaking into the line, finishing the men. As the fighting near the guns continue, Jagatai Khan and his sons begin their part of the attack to take back Lion Gate spaceport. At the wall, as the deadly fighting continue as both sides were taking heavy losses, the loyalists were doing better due to having men ready to take the spot of their fallen or injured brothers. That was until a loud roar was heard. Rushing towards the gate, a large bloodthirster greater demon, known as Kabanda, came forth, jumping on top of the walls, finishing some Death Watch and Militarum, looking at Izuku and Sanguinius. Kabanda, face me, you cowards, come forth and face the Kachar. Before he finishes his sentence, Izuku tackles him to the ground, punching him as his teeth came out of his mouth. Izuku grabs him and punches him in the air and showing his wings, and he shoots into the air and begins his battle against the greater demon. As the two clashes in the air, the greater demon clearly underestimated the power of Primarch as he was beaten badly. Izuku, using his skills from years of battles, punches Ka, once more knocking him down, grabbing him to lift him up by his ankle and his arm, and breaks his back in front of the traitor and loyalist. Throwing the body in front of the traitors, they were shocked to see a greater demon defeated so easily. As Zardalayuk saw the defeat, he was furious, and him and some of his men charge at Izuku. Not even looking at the direction, he appears right past them as their bodies are cut, and Zarda looks at Izuku one last time, watching him clean his blade as he cut in half. Izuku flies back over the wall as all positions are being ruthlessly attacked by traitor forces. Izuku orders artillery to begin the barrage and for the defenders to continue to defend with their lives. 55 days later. 55 deadly days has passed since the siege started. Hundreds of thousands of battle brothers have died, and the same amount for the Militarum, but no men gave up. They died or were injured on the spot, but luckily for them, it was about to turn into their favor. Behind them, a portal had opened as some men turned to open fire. Izuku halted them as he watched Magnus come from the portal with his forces as they charged past him to take spots on the wall to fight off the traitors. Magnus, apologize for being late, brother. The warp has been more chaotic than usually, and it held us back from getting here earlier. Also, if you're wondering where Lehman is, well, points past the gates. Izuku look and see thousands of drops pods come from the skies of Terra. As they drop, howls can be heard, and he distances as a new player has entered the field. As the Alpha Legion, Raven Guard and Night Lords heard the howls, they knew who it was, as their forces were dwindled down from all the fighting and hit and runs to stop the artillery strikes on the gate. Iron Hands and Death Guards start to surround the men, but suddenly were taken down by wolves that went ahead and start tearing apart them traitors. As bolter fire rang out, finishing more, seeing where the shots came from, it was the Space Wolves led by their Primarch Leman Russ crashing into the traitors, finishing them, as the rest of the Alpha Legion Ravens and Night Lords join in the battle fighting. Magnus. Also, brother, your ambush was a success. It's the reason why we made it through the blockade and are landing troops so easily. Izuku. He did inform me it was a 5-to-1 odd. He must be having fun. Glad your ships got through to support and provide us. In space moments before Magnus' arrival, as loyalist ships of the Space Wolves enter the system, they saw the mass fleet of the traitors as they try to plan a way to defeat the massive fleet. Suddenly ships start to be destroyed as Deathwatch ships start to appear, destroying Horus' fleet bit by bit. Admiral Varus. Lord Leman, I am Admiral Varus of Izuku Deathwatch Fleet. We will cover your ship's advance for drop. Leman Russ. Haha, we think you know me, and my boys can start our hunt, but our ships can get damage. Admiral Varus. Do not worry, we will protect and repair them. Gives the signal as fighters and bombers begin their attack. 2 space bases near Terra appear and begin to fire on Horus' fleet, as well sending their bombers and fighters to damage the fleet and destroy transport ships. Leman Russ. Howls. Haha, happy hunter Admiral, we are beginning our drop. Gets on Vox. Launch all drop pods. I will be there soon to drop for the Imperiums. My pack hunt these traitors down. Back at the front gate. As the battle in the rear turns into the Loyalist favor the gods of chaos, kept sending demons forces to attack all the gates so they may break into the Golden Palace. But Magnus take position on the ledge of a gate and gathers his scare powers to launch a powerful attack towards the chaos forces. Being destroyed by the immense scare powers, his son follow up with their own blast, destroying thousands of chaos forces in mere seconds. Horus from his Might War vessel is seeing the outcome of the battle, and he has failed. He fails to break the will of the Loyalist forces, and now they are being pushed from 2 fronts and slowly losing the battle. Seeing the amount of material lost, he became desperate, as he couldn't warp near the palace thanks to the shields of Izuku. So, in order to turn the tide, he orders his Void Shield to be lower to draw in his father and Izuku to come fight him. Izuku fighting with his son, and Conman all battle at the gates, gets a Vox call from Rogel on the left side of the gate. Rogel. Izuku Horus ship's shields are down. This might be the perfect time to strike at him and end all of this. Izuku. You are right, but me and Sanguinius are holding here. We can't really move. Rylaner. My lord, let me lead the men here. I will defend this wall till I'm not able to. Izuku. Rylaner, are you sure you are already damaged from the days of fighting? Rylaner. As long I'm able to move and my guns fire, I will stand for the Emperor protects. Izuku. Vulcan. Ferris, are your men okay? I can divert forces to help hold before I head out. Vulcan. We are fine on the east side. The enemies are burning under our might. We will hold, brother. Go and stop this madness. Ferris. We are fine here at the west. The defenses are being repaired and holding, although the demons are giving us a problem. They'll be able to help with that? Izuku. Sensei, is that you? Valder. It's good that you haven't forgotten me, Izuku, but the custodes have finally cleared the enemy from within the palace. Valder. We are spreading our forces to help all the lines, and don't worry, your grandfather has new units defending the palace in our place known. Izuku. Very well, thank you, Valder. Rylaner, you are in charge of the forces on this wall, till our return, Sanguinius come. Izuku. If any Terminators are available, I need 5 to join me for Omega level mission. Squad 3. This is Squad 3. We will make our way to the throne room. Sir Custodes have come to relive us. Izuku. Good, get there as soon as possible. We will meet you there. Sanguinius, are you ready to end this bloodshed? Sanguinius. Yes, brother, it's time to end this bloodshed. We can't let this go further. As Izuku and Sanguinius left from the lines, leaving Rylaner to hold the line, they arrive to the throne room, gather ammo, as the apothecary gather medical supplies for the mission. As the finally finish, Izuku looks at the small force. He will be leading members of the Iron Hands, Imperial Fist, Blood Angels, and his own personality troops, with at least 10 custodes joining in. Izuku. Men, this is moment where we will end this war. Horus has dropped his shield, meaning he is inviting us in to challenge him. Izuku, we may be separated once we arrive, but do not surrender, do not falter. No mercy is to be shown to these traitors. If you find Horus, report it imminently to me or Lord Sanguinius. Izuku, this may be our final battle. If any of you do not wish to participate, you may leave. No harm will be done, but if you wish to stay, step forward. All of the troops step forward, showing no resolve in the mission and accepting their faith. Izuku looked proudly at all the sons of the Emperor and told them to get ready. As they finish the last preparations and move to a new room, Magnus meets with them, preparing to warp them in for the fight to save all. Magnus, prepare yourself. This will take a lot out of me, so I apologize if I can warp you all on the same area. Emperor of mankind, there's no need to strain yourself, my son. As they turn around, all got on one knee to pay their respect to the Emperor. Emperor of mankind, I will lead them on, my son. I want you to be with your legion to stop these demons from coming into Terra. Izuku, father, if you're here, who on the throne? I, though you couldn't leave it. Emperor of mankind, my son Malkador has made the ultimate sacrifice by sitting on the throne to give me the ability to come and help. Emperor of mankind, he did leave you a message, son, and he also told he has never been prouder of what you become, and the others as well. Izuku holds his tears in as he remembers that it was him who told him that he would become the hero his world needed. He would fight in his name and honor for the sacrifice he committed. The Emperor see how strong Izuku is staying for this battle, as he known he will mourn Malkador after this. As the Emperor gathers his energy, he warps the entire group on the ship, and they began to fire their bolters on the enemies in the room they are in. Clearing the area, they start to begin to plan to move through the ship. Horus, seeing they finally enter the ship using the powers of chaos, he separates all of them into different parts of the ships, and they loyalists started to fight through the ships. Sanguinius rushes into another room and spots Horus as the two brothers look at each other, emotions run high. Horus versus Sanguinius, both looking ready to make a move to strike each other until Horus put his weapon down, looking at him with a calm demeanor. Horus, brother, my dear brother, you have come, and I hope you would. I have missed you. I miss our conversations. Sanguinius, you hope I would come? You knew I would come. Horus, I could not trust in fate, or destiny, or even chance. My heart is full that this is the choice you made. Sanguinius, and my heart is full to see you again. Despite all that has taken place, I mourn the loss of my brother Horus. I would not have let this monstrous war end without seeing you with my own eyes once again. Horus, monstrous it is. I abhor it, and I will end it. But this is not the last time we can see each other, brother. Sanguinius, I think not. You are not the same Horus. The warp is upon you, and it has corrupted you to the point we are here. Horus, no need, brother. The warp is indeed me and upon me. Because all things can change, you must know this, for you have seen it. Sanguinius, you're right, I have seen it, but Izuku has taught me a valuable lesson, that the future can be changed, and it's my destiny to change it. Horus, Grr, what that pathetic servitor taught you that I couldn't. Tell me what that worthless worm told you. Slams his weapon on the ground. Sanguinius, he told me that the future can be changed, that I can make my own path and not the one from the visions, and I will follow that advice from him, and I will not fall. Grabs the spear of Telesto in one hand and his word on the other. I will kill you, ours. Horus, furious by what Sanguinius said, grabs his mace and charges at Sanguinius, swinging it overhead to hit Sanguinius, but he blocks the powerful blow with his spear and sword himself. As they both held their ground to gain advantage over each other, the battle for the end is beginning. With Izuku. As Izuku took down another group of traitors, he felt the power of the Sanguinis, and Horus, as he rushes toward that location to help out, defeating more men and foot soldiers along the way, rushing to keep the promise that he made Sanguinius. As Izuku takes another corner, he stands in front of two greater demons, one a great unclean one, and the other a keeper of secrets. Izuku, having no time, put his spear on his holsters and takes out his lightning claws, rushing towards them to battle. As hours pass, Sanguinius and Horus battle continues with no giving way. Horus was making sure that Sanguinius was getting tired. As Horus Emery never faltered due to the power of the warp, he continues to strike back against Sanguinius, making him falter a bit. As Horus does one more might blow, sending him back against the wall. As Horus walks to him slowly, standing over his body. Horus, It doesn't have to be this way, brother. Stop this fighting. Join me together. We can rule the galaxy. Your sons will be safe from my purging. Horus, join me now, or I'll end your life right now. Sanguinius, no. Slowly gets up, leaning on sword. I won't give up. I'll keep fighting for the Imperium, for the Emperor, and for Izuku. Horus, furious with what he said, he throws Sanguinius against the wall. Dropping his weapon, he brutally starts to use his fist to beat him down. Vital fluid splatter with each blow as Horus uses his claws to slash at his armor. With each punch, Sanguinius does his best to stay awake for each blow. The beatdown goes for 20 minutes as Horus finally stops to look his former brother all broken. Walking back to his weapon to pick it up, ready to strike him, he looks one more time at him. Horus, all of this could have been avoided, brother, but you chose to stay with them, and for that when they see your broken body, I will laugh to show them that I did not care. Now goodbye, brother, for the last time. Raise his mace to strike him. Sanguinius look at the mace, about to finish him off, secretly saying sorry to Izuku as he has failed him, but suddenly the roof above them broke as a halberd on fire struck the mace in Horus' hand, making him lose balance as he receives a kick to his face, sending him back. Izuku, get away from my brother, lands in front of Sanguinius, rising his halberd to defend him. Izuku, this is your end. Horus, I will end this for the safety of the Imperium, to bring peace to all and end this heresy. Releasing a ton of vital fluid lust towards Horus. Horus, what is this bloodlust? Trouble standing. I will not stand for this. The gods of chaos are with me. Feels the power flow. Izuku, this is known as the Black Rage. Brother Sanguinius had this defect. Luckily me and father cured them, so none of his sons would get it, but me, I kept it and trained with it, and now perfected it. Release all the bloodlust toward Horus. Izuku, now this will be the end of you. Horus, I will not let you leave this ship alive. I will protect this Imperium Terra and this galaxy from your tyranny. Opens his wings and flies toward Horus with great speed. Horus, I will have your head, you waste of space. You have gotten in my way for far too long. Now you suffer the same fate as your brother here. And when Emperor comes collect your body, I will make sure he see you become a chaotic puppet. Ra charges at Izuku. As they strike each other with their weapons, a strong shockwave went through the room, shacking the ship with the power from the blow, giving a signal of what is happening. The Emperor rushes to the room where the strike came from, finishing enemies along the way. For hours the two continue to fight as the armor of Horus has been greatly damaged, as well as Izuku. The Black Rage fuels his anger with each strike, trying to take down Horus, but it also making him more exhausted. For Horus, his powers were slowly depleting due to the damage of his armor, but he would not give up until Izuku was dead to continue his attack. More strikes with each weapon till Horus saw an opening using his mace. He strikes, but it was a feint and Izuku fell for it as Horus strikes with his lightning claws, slicing his chest plate, leaving 3 claw marks. Izuku falls on the floor, trying to reap his weapon. It was kick away from him as Horus stands over him ready to unalive him, but feels pain on his side. Turning around to see one guardsman, a lonely, foolish, and brave guardsman. Izuku, in pain on the floor, looks on as Horus steps forwards towards him and stabs him with the thunder claws, throwing his body against the wall as the guardsman dies. Horus versus the Emperor. Laughing at the pathetic excuse of a man, Horus turns around but is shocked by the sight in front of him. Seeing his father, the Emperor of Mankind, in the room, checking on his 2 sons, calling medic to come quickly. Looking at his former son, the rage in the Emperor was real. Taking slow steps toward Horus, he brings his might blade and strike at him. More hours have passed on the planet. The traitor legions were finally being pushed back out of the space, towards the inner gates, and close to the outer gates of Terra, losing so much in the process. In space, more of the traitor fleet was being destroyed, and how Space Wolf ships were helping, finishing more ships while getting repair as well. Horus, finally having enough, strikes the Emperor, but he will be parried by the Emperor so easily as he strikes back, sending him back from the force. Horus, in rage, gathers all the strength of the Chaos God, strike back, getting through his father defense and striking him hard, damaging his armor and his body, as he then strikes with his thunder claw, slashing, hurting him more. The Emperor falls on his knee, looking at his former son as he walks slowly towards him, gripping his mace as he lifts once more to finally finish this, till he felt pain on his side. A lonely guardsman stabs his side, distracting him. Horus, turning around, see this failure of a man and swipes him with his thunder claws, sending him flying towards the wall dead from the impact. Horus laughs at the scene unfolded as his turn around to face his bleeding father once more. Horus, this could have all ended differently, father. All you had to do was surrender and let me rule the galaxy would have been such a better place. Emperor of mankind. Coughs. No, I would not let these gods of chaos take over. I will defend humanity with my life. Horus. Very well, then you shall join these insects and suffer like they will, lifting up mace to strike. Izuku. Horus swings his halberd and cleanly cuts off his arm, watching it drop with the mace. Horus holds his missing arm, falling on his knees. You useless brat, my arm. The Emperor slowly gets up, gathering all of his scare power into in. Looking at Horus, grabbing his blade and stabs Horus through the heart. Horus looks at his father, the pain of the blade going through him and the power of his father's scare strike made Horus scream, but then stop. As Horus look at his father once more, a single tear goes down his eyes, asking his father for forgiveness for everything, for the pain and suffering. The Emperor looks at his son, but does not see the son he once had. All he saw was a man that was trying to rule the galaxy with the chaos gods, driving all of the near-infinite reserves of compassion from his mind for the sake of the humanity he had served and loved all the years of his long life. The Emperor summoned his power once more and destroyed Horus utterly. His essence burned from existence, so that the ruinous powers could not resurrect him as a demon prince, through their claim on his soul. The destruction of Horus' soul sent a psychic shockwave surging across the soul system, casting the demons of chaos back into the warp, and spreading mass panic among the traitor legions and other traitor forces on the surface of Terra in seconds, as they found their powers disrupted temporarily by the death of their favored mortal vessel. As the traitors now know their warmaster is dead, they begun a full retreat to their drop pods and ships to get out of the system. Onran, making it to his dropship, look once more at the palace on Terra, maybe a small memory of what his life was like before he betrays the Imperium, as he finally takes his step inside and retreats back to his ship. Malkador, the Sigilate, seating in the place of the Emperor as he went to battle his son, knows he does not have long and begins to do two last tasks. As he felt the shockwave from his friend the Emperor powers, he begins the first task, bringing in a servo skull. He puts a message and blueprints for the person he considers a grandson. Izuku once that has done the pain and power of the Golden Throne was more difficult to handle, but he would not falter till the last task was complete. Back on the Vengeful Spirit, Roble had finally made it to the room where the battle took place. After making sure the defense on the surface was secured, he took a gunship and flew onto the Vengeful Spirit. Clearing his way of what enemies, Astartes and regular footmen, he finally reaches the room and was stung by what he saw. The Emperor, his father, messy and okay the ground. Izuku badly injured, and lastly his other brother Sanguinius broken from his battle from Horus, but luckily still alive. Izuku. Roble, we did it, we won, but now we need to help father and brother Sanguinius. Rogle. Men, pick up the Emperor slowly, we need to get him back to his throne, it may be his only way to survive. Izuku. I still have strength left, I will carry our brother Sanguinius back. Carefully lifts his brother and slowly carries him dash. A Vox channels was coming in through Rogle communicator as he answers. Rogle. Magnus, what is the matter? Magnus. I am creating a portal in the webway to bring you all into the throne room. Guards are ready to bring in the Emperor, and Apothecary are here to help heal Izuku and Sanguinius. Rogle. Very well, we are ready. Open the portal now, they are all losing too much vital fluid. Magnus, using his power, opened the portal as they see Roble, the Emperor, and Izuku on the other side. Guards rush through to carefully carry the Emperor through, as Izuku slowly walks through, carrying his brother, laying him down on the floor so Apothecary can begin healing him and cleaning his wound. Looking at the throne, Izuku is saddened to see his grandfather Malkador, the Sigilite, long past, but still containing the webway even in death. Izuku, injured and bruised, walks slowly to the throne to pick up his grandfather carefully and lay him down to show his duty had finally ended. Yet, the Sigilite somehow managed to impart his final remaining psychic energy to the Emperor before his death to restore the master of mankind to consciousness for a final time. Suddenly awakened, the Emperor delivered his final instructions to his servants and his son that were in the room. Emperor of mankind. Weak voice. My son Rogel, please continue to support your brothers, continue to protect humanity. Rogel, I will, father. I swear you. Emperor of mankind. Sanguinius, my son, I ask you, co-regent of Terra, lead her into the future, a bright one with your brothers. Sanguinius stand, although weakened he goes, and kneels to his father. Sanguinius, I swear on my life, father, that I will help lead humanity to a better future. The emperor nods and finally looks at Izuku, a true son of the Imperium, and himself. Seeing Izuku stand up, shake, walking towards him, and kneeling. Emperor of mankind. My son Izuku, ever since you arrived, you have shown nothing but greatness. As he takes deep breath, ready to finish his statement, while Tech Priest near the throne work to make it support his life. Emperor of mankind. Izuku, I leave you regent of the Imperium, lead her in my wake, my son, change the rules as you see fit. Emperor of mankind. Show what a unified Imperium can be with your ideas. Izuku, I swear, father, I will lead the Imperium until you recovered, no matter how long, I will defend it till my last breath. Emperor of mankind. Slowly lifts his sword. Take this, Izuku, this will be the proof to show that you will lead until you are able to return home. Izuku takes the sword, slowly admiring it, turning around to see his brother kneels to him. As he lifts it, the sword bursts into fire, not burning Izuku, showing the blade, gives Izuku its blessing. As he turns to see his father telling the others what to do with Sanguinius and Izuku. In space. As the fleet of the traitors begin their retreat, leaving those that were destroyed and damaged to face their fate, 10 space stations with fighter and bombers flying around them appear on the outskirts of Mars. The forces on Mars had defeated the traitors and destroyed each one of their ships that tried to retreat. Now, seeing what remains of the traitor fleet, they begun to attack and destroy their ships. For what ships were able to make it through retreated to the Eye of Terra. In the end of it, only about 10% of traitor fleet remain. 3 months later. 3 months has passed, seen the siege ended. As bodies of the traitors were gathered and rid of, making sure they didn't get proper burial, gathering their bodies, putting them into ships, and flying near the planet once called Venus, and throwing their bodies to float forever in space. The streets still bleed with the blood of loyalist and traitor blood flowing for months, which seems to have no end, but we know it will. The guardsman that struck Horus to give the Emperor time to arrive was recover as well. Izuku had informed everyone this man saves his life, and gave father a chance to arrive to fight Horus. Olanius Pius was this man name, and he will be a saint now for the Astra Militarum. This guardsman should be honor, Izuku informed the room, and so they gave him a military funeral for generals. As the funeral day came, his fellow guardsmen line up behind his casket, and more in the front, with Izuku coming to the commissar of the unit, giving the trooper next to commissar a flag that represents the unit he was in. It shows Olanius on it with his sainthood. As the guardsman salutes Izuku, he gets in front and begins to walk with them, following behind. As they walk to the temple where a memorial was placed for all the fallen Astartes was created, the guardsmen bring his casket in to be placed inside for the first time in Imperial history. As they lay him, they give one final salute. As Izuku stays, guardsmen, hearing him, say, "Thank you for risking your life for me. You have completed your duty, guardsmen." Izuku leaves the temple as they close it to let the dead rest. In space, ships were being salvaged and melted down. Whatever traitors were left on the damaged ships were quickly dealt with. No mercy shown, gather onto ships and lead to be thrown into space. As relics were being recovered that the traitors stole, they were brought back to the underground of the throne chambers to be locked and guarded. Terra itself was being rebuilt thanks to Izuku and Rogel working together, as Sanguinius recovered in a medical chamber till he was ready to move. Mechanicum, using Izuku lessons, got the golden city of Terra building rebuilt at an impressive rate. They estimate that it will finish repairs to the city walls in 2 more months. Back on Terra. For the loyalist brothers, Gilliman finally arrived on Terra late for the battle and was ashamed by it. Lion Johnson also arrived late for the battle, but vowed to get vengeance for the actions of the traitor legions. As others help rebuild Terra as well, and some went to Luna and Mars to begin their repair and fortifications. Once Sanguinius recover more, they would have a conversation about what their father had said, and Izuku want to talk to them all and get the approval of all brothers to see if they will let him lead, so there no quarrel or infighting between each other. Izuku has many plans for the future, and he hopes his brothers are willing to go with it. but for now making sure the Imperium was back in order and checking on the multiple systems for damage and repairs. Hopefully, with the support of his brothers, he will be able to get everything back running before another huge event. The Imperium of Man had survived the Horus heresy intact, but without paying the price of losing their god emperor. But in turn, two new leaders step up, both to hold the Imperium together till the return of their father. Will they succeed in their task, or will events take a turn to end the Imperium? 999.M41 Izuku Data Log 10,000 years have passed since the siege of the world of Terra, and many things have changed for the better of the galaxy. It's hard to believe that I worked so hard with my brothers to get it done. The galaxy is getting more secure with new allies and enemies are still numerous, but we have dealt with them quickly. The first thing was the vote to see if everyone agree with Father that I would lead with Sanguinius as my second. He is fully healed now thanks to the work and advancement of medicine of my apothecary. As the vote went, I felt really intense by it because everyone had an opinion. I still remember it till this day, even after so long. Flashback to the vote. As the final tally was counted on how many sons of the legions that fought in the siege, it shows a great number of Astartes dead, but millions of brave guardsmen that perish as well in the defense. Sanguinius, my brothers, it is time we made the vote at Izuku request. He is asking everyone for their opinion before we take the vote. For me, I vote yes, Izuku planning and quickness save our fellow sons in Istvan III, and his brilliant tactics save many of us during the siege and on Istvan V. Rogel, I also vote yes. The way he set up defensive and his creativity to use a fan to signal the way the battle goes show he good. The ferocity to not give up fighting Horus to give Father the chance to finish him. Conrad, my vote is yes. Although my tactics and how my legion operates is not seen as honorable, Izuku didn't judge me right away, gave us a chance to prove who we were, and we did. The brothers continue to talk and place their vote. As all brothers vote, there was only one that voted no. That was Lion Johnson. Izuku, Brother Lion, may I ask why you don't believe I should lead in Father's place until we heal him? Lion, to me you are still an immature child. You do not have the right to lead the Imperium even with Father blessing, so it's a nod from me. I should be the one to lead, but since I'm outnumbered, I will follow and help in any way. The votes were finally done. Ferris, Magnus, Alfarius and Amagon, Gilliman and Corvus all voted yes. With all the votes, Izuku was made leader of the Imperium until Father is healed and ready to lead again. As the Imperium learned of this news, they were excited about who will lead except a few groups of people. The High Lords of Terra did not appreciate this because they wanted to lead without any interference, and the Inquisition, a new thing that wanted control without any oversight. This will be difficult for both parties as Izuku did not trust either of them. Flashback end. As time went by, one of the biggest events where the Imperium was in trouble once more, but thanks to my brothers and my legion's combined forces, we were able to stop it. The War of the Beast took place in 542 to M32. It started when reports from one of the outer stations report large orc activity came in and destroy multiple Imperium worlds on the outer systems. One I was trying to get fortified, but the Lords of Terra refused, saying it wasn't beneficial. Now with a massive threat coming, my brothers and I had gathered our legions to fight the threat, while I told the Lord of Terra to get the Militarum ready for the upcoming battle. But they did not respond quickly enough, and for 2 years my brothers and my legion fought the war with planetary forces to hold them off as they push us back to Terra. I was furious about how long the Lords were taking to move forces, but we had finally won the battle at the Third Battle of Ullanor. Thanks to the new formed Sisters of Battle which I made to keep the Inquisition in check, and Lord Commander Maximus Thane, who now is the new chapter master of the Imperial Fist, defeated the orc boss, and we watched them scatter with my forces and BrotherCon forces destroying their retreating forces. In the aftermath, I went to the chambers where the Lords were at with a tactical squad finishing the Minotaur guards that were protecting them. He dismisses the Lords and executed them, for almost costing the end of the Imperium. In the end, a new system was created, a council one that has been efficient ever since, and making sure the Imperium in all sectors is taken care of. Time has passed since that war, and the battle with chaos has never ended. Many worlds as some fell, but were taken back once again. In time, a new codex was created with the help of all brothers to show how Marines would fight in different units to make them understand and work together. The Codex Astartes was form written by everyone input and Izuku of how to build legions and chapters for future Astartes. It was to help them form new units, how to fight certain enemies, and learn from their fighting styles to counteract them. Izuku was being a prime example of what his brothers and father wanted him to be, a leader that helps all. Almost a millennium has passed since the War of the Beast. The galaxy has changed so much. People have started to accept technology more thanks for me pushing it. We have discovered lost planets, though lost, but they were populated and had forces ready for battle. From the siege of Rax, which was 19 years of deadly fighting, till my men and forces step in to stop the Cardinal that was leading the war with another chapter known as the Red Scorpions. This was the first time I met the men at Krieg, and I was highly impressed by their resolve to never give up, but saddened by the reason they do so. When they explained to me why they were doing what they did, I asked them as leader to stop, that my father the Emperor does not hate or resent them from not helping, as they did their duty to defend the Imperium for 500 years, and they can pay it back by helping to defend it without suicidal attacks, but showing other guards unit how to fight in sieges and helping in all sectors. Leaders of Krieg had agree and thanked me for the forgiveness. In return, they gave me 2 full regiments of Kriegsmen to use, as I took them with me back to my home world of Mustafa, in order to help train the next generations of guardsmen that were willing to join. The Badab sector was a defended sector of the Imperium that a group known as the Astral Claws, Mantis Warriors, and a sub-chapter of my brother Legion, the Blood Angels known as the Lamenters, were holding from the Xenos, Chaotic Tides. They were very efficient in the past. They had asked for reinforcements, but the Lords say it as a waste of time, but now with me leading I had granted their request, and send more forces plus stations to help control their sector. From the reports, they have nearly cleared the sector of Xenos and Chaos forces, and we're thankful. We almost met the Space Sharks, ones that were in deep space helping the Imperium since they were a fleet chapter base. I provided them with a space station and troops as well, for they will continue to stop the Imperium enemies from the deep. The First War of Armageddon causes the months of shame to happen, where Brother Lehman and the Space Wolves went against the Inquisition, where Space Wolves try to evacuate citizens from the planet, but the Inquisition try to stop them, saying the information of the Grey Knights, and that the civilians may be corrupted or talk about them may escape, and they deserve to be purged. Luckily, I arrived with reinforcements for the planet and saw the situation. Let's say the Inquisition are now on a tighter leash, where one more mistake and their whole organization will be over. As for the Grey Knights, I informed them that the Inquisition does not control them, and they are allowed to move freely to help the Imperium. The leader of the Inquisition was not too pleased by this, but I did not care for what they try to commit. As Armageddon continued to be battle over Commissar, Yarrick has held the planet thanks to his men of the Steel Legion, all retrofitted and given new advanced weaponry to help battle the Orc menace. The Imperium will continue to send support to them and provide them with what they need thanks to our production levels being very high. Tyranids, a new menace that has entered our galaxy. First discovery by an Inquisitor near the planet Tyran Primus. The whole planet was bare, no water, plants, animals, not even our base that was there. Inquisitor Kipman went down to the planet, to the base that was there, seeing walls melted with a weird liquid as he continues further down into the base till he finds what he was looking for. An emergency data box, which it was hidden, was found by Kipman. As he witnesses the events, he immediately tries to signal the next planet, but it couldn't go through for some reason. Traveling to the next planet, he discovered why. The planet was bare as well, no one on it. Not an ounce of vegetation or water on it, same as Tyran Primus. Kipman was shocked and called out to whatever system he couldn't to try to get a warning out. Luckily, he was near the Ultramar system, where Chapter Master Marnius Calgar received his Vox and informed him to move to Macridge to give the update. Marnius heard everything and saw the Vox box, and what was filmed. Seeing a new threat like this with no information on how to defeat it, he calls a war council to discuss what to do. He also informs a commander to get Lord Izuku on the Vox in order to tell him about the threat. As everyone scrambled getting the console prepare for the defense, luckily, I was able to talk to them and sent them reinforcements of the newly formed 64th Division of Krieg and new trained Deathwatch Astartes. The science teams were also with them, so they may collect bodies and try to form new way to defeat this new threat. Battle of Macridge was long and deadly. This new threat to our Imperium was very difficult to battle. They came in non-stop waves, but the Kriegmen held the line till the end with the new Deathwatch Corps as they fought alongside with the Ultramarines for the planet. It could have been a defeat, but luckily the second reinforcement I had sent arrived on time and attacked their fleet from the rear, as well as dropping more men to help on the planet. The battle was finally won when the ship holding the hive mind was killed. All the Tyranid on the planet were killed off, and burned some were collective, so my scientists can do research and find counters to pass on to the other chapters for they can learn to fight them. In the end, the Krieg division was nearly wiped out along with the half of the new sons that were sent, but together they fought back-to-back Astartes and regular men to the end, as I decided to promote them both to a new unit and regiment where they will be specially made to fight Tyranids. Calgar had the same idea since the first company that was on the planet was completely wiped out as well, so two new first companies are being made to fight Tyranids and teach the new generation about how to fight them as well. For that was the last great conflict for now, although other hive fleets have tried to invade throughout the years thanks to research. We were able to create new weapons to use against them, and as they try to evolve to counter it, the new guns do the same, so they can continue to cause the Tyranids to waste resources. In the time that passed before the year we are currently in, there was one more advancement for the Imperium, peace between the Elder and Tau empires. Izuku personally went to the Eldari leaders and the Tau leaders, using his negotiation skills, work out a peace deal that granted trade for all and military alliance to protect each other. This was a new age as we had been enemies for thousands of years. Although some of my brothers were worried if this alliance would last, Sanguinius reassured them it would. He swore on himself and his legion's name. I also reassured to them that it would work and vow that if it broke I would disband my legion and give up ruling the Imperium to Brother Lion. This alliance was actually tested the first time during the Gothic Wars. For 20 years the Imperial Navy has fought a new threat on the scene. His name as Abaddon the Despoiler, he was leading the 12 Black Crusade, causing terror and death in the Cadian system. As I sent my fleet to aid them, the Eye of Terra caused a warp storm strong enough that my ships were not able to get through. But thanks to the Eldari captain, he was able to get a webway to the other side of the storm, and my fleet with some space stations were there to help defeat Abaddon's fleet, securing Cadia's system for the Imperium once more. Sanguinius, the new Cadian leader, Lord Castellan Ursicar E. Creed, and I thank the Eldari leadership for helping as they thank us, as well showing good faith in this alliance. Now Abaddon and his massive legion has once again gathered for a crusade, the 13th Black Crusade as they call it, but this time, we were more prepared for this. In date of log, 13 times shall the traitor king go forth. In the end times the iron fortress shall be cast down, its walls breached, and its gate forced open. Those that dwell beyond shall spill through it. The air shall burn, and the ground shall melt. The demon shall lie down with the machine. Brother shall slay brother with fire and sword. And the sky wound shall pour its malice forth. The eye shall stare unblinking at its prize, and the traitor king shall cross the bridge of stars. He shall return to finish the warmonger's red work. Upon holy soil shall the fate of man be decided. The Liber Malefact. As Izuku is on his planet of Mustafar, he is preparing his fleet to defend Cadia and special ships for something they spotted on Cadia. In the aftermath of the first invasion, we had discovered 4 black pillars. No one was able to figure out what the purpose of it was for until one Belisarius came forward and studied the black pillars. He had found out that these black pillars were able to close the eyes of terror, causing chaos to never enter back the galaxy. Abaddon had learned of this as well and now prepares another huge fleet with millions of chaos warriors. Belisarius was working furiously on how to activate the pillars, but he had no luck on understanding the technology until one unusual allied appeared. His name was Trazyn, the Infinite, a Necron that collects history for his collection. He informs Belisarius that he knew about the pillars because it was his kind that made them, and he will help him activate it, though it will take time. I inform Belisarius to tell him yes, and I have something for him in return for helping, but now we must prepare Cadia for the storm that is making its way towards it. A few months later, preparations were done as Izuku beforehand already started sending troops, supplies, fortifications, upgrades. He even made a new division of Cadians to defend their planet. They were trained with Kriegsman as they learned from them, combining to make the first Krieg Cadian army master in siege attrition and other skills both forces know. Izuku has built a strong force of his Astartes forces. They will head to Cadia with him and some Titan forces as well. He also knows a force of space wolves had made their way to Cadia to help with the defense, led by Wolf Lord Orvin Highfell and Wolf Lord Sven Bloodhowl. As they continue building defenses around the fortress of Cadia, evacuation ships were landing daily to help evacuate the citizens. Now Izuku prepares to join the defense and asks his admiral to prepare to jump. As the massive Death Watch fleet jumps, Izuku walks around to check on everyone for this faithful battle for the galaxy. Walking into the barracks hall, he sees his Astartes sons praying with the chaplain. They turn to see their father, their Primarch, as they all bow to him as he enters slowly, standing next to one of his son and looks at his chaplain. Izuku, my son, please continue on with your prayers. I would like to join you all before our great battle. Chaplain, yes, my lord. Men, we begin again. The chaplain begins to walk on the stage to one end to the other, saying only 3 lines. Chaplain, what is your duty? Everyone, to serve the Emperor will. Chaplain, what is the Emperor will? Everyone, that we fight and die. Chapin, what is death? Everyone, it is our duty. Chaplain, what is your duty? Everyone, to serve the Emperor will. Chaplain, what is the Emperor will? Everyone, that we fight and die. Chapin, what is death? Everyone, it is our duty. Chaplain keeps walking, but now speaks louder. Chaplain, what is your duty? Everyone, to serve the Emperor will. Chaplain, what is the Emperor will? Everyone, that we fight and die. Chapin, what is death? Everyone, it is our duty. As an hour goes by, they continue the prayer, saying the same thing over and over, mentally getting ready for the battle ahead. Then an announcement came over the speakers. Admiral Haru, my lord, I apologize for the interruption, but we are about to reach the Cadia system. I'm having all troops begin making their way to the transports. Izuku, very well, Admiral. Me and my sons will begin making our way to the drops pods. Izuku, Chaplain, may I come up and address everyone? Chaplain, yes, my lord, steps down from the stage. Izuku walks up onto the stage looking at his sons ready to fight till the end. Izuku, my sons, this upcoming battle will be one of the hardest battles we have fought since the siege of Terra. Many of us will not make it, but it is for the Emperor and for the Imperium's sake. Izuku, we are at the pinnacle where we may end the reign of chaos. This battle may finally bring the galaxy closer to Imperium control with our allies. Izuku, we must sacrifice everything for us to win this battle and bring the end of chaos, to bring stability to the galaxy, to bring in the separation of our brother and sisters from the other side of the warp. Izuku, I ask you, my sons, to fight till the last breath is given, to give everything for this battle, to stand side by side with the Cadians and our Krieg Cadians forces together as one, to fight alongside the battle sister that journey with us. Izuku lifts his father's sword as it ignites in his holy fire as his sons look upon the blade and their lord to show his worth to the Imperium. Izuku, and to fight for the Imperium, for the people, the children fight for them, my son, for the Imperium, for the Emperor. Everyone, for the Imperium, for the Emperor. Izuku, all forces, I know you heard my speech on the other ships. I promise today will be a glorious day for us all. But now it's time to head to your Thunderbirds so we can make landfall. Izuku, all Militarum forces head to your Valkyries, begin descent towards the lines and reinforce it. Izuku, I want those tanks that we brought sent down as well. Admiral Haru, once we depart, prepare the ambush in the field of rocks. Admiral Haru, yes, my lord, speaks on Vox. Open all hatches, send the men away, and then battle stations, bombers and fighters be ready to support the attack, and 3 groups to support our forces down below. As the fleet began to mobilize, transport ships started to leave and head towards the fortress. Tank, men, Astartes, Titans, and Knights from the House of Yagi formed by Izuku after the War of the Beast. An hour has passed as the load-off continues with men heading to the front and tanks following behind. Artillery started setting up in positions made for them months in advance as new advanced Hydra anti-air heads to their positions. Izuku was with the last group to make it to the planet as they begin their descent towards the lines. As Izuku's ships lands, he sees the men moving towards their positions, tanks getting into their bunkers as men are getting ready for battle. Izuku, all forces report in. Commissar Peter, this is the left flank ready for battle, my lord. Commissar Elise, this is the right flank ready for battle, my lord. Izuku, Middle line is ready. Artillery and anti-air, are you all on positions? Artillery Commander. We are in position, my lord. Scatter shells ready and loaded. Anti-air Commander. Guns are ready, my lord, to provide cover. Izuku. Admiral, I have heard Imperial Fist forces are coming our way. We must hold off the enemy fleet when they arrive after the ambush goes off. Admiral Haru. Very well, my lord. The space stations and our fleet are behind the rock formations. We will be ready to attack once they start the assault. We will hold till the Imperial Fist come to reinforce us. Izuku. Now where is Ursakar E. Creed located at? I would like to meet with him. Cadian Trooper. Sir, he is in the command center. Would like me to lead you to him, sir. Izuku. Yes, Trooper, please lead me immediately. After Izuku tell his commissars to prepare the man for battle as he rushes with the trooper to meet with Ursakar E. Creed. Entering the control room, it became quiet as Izuku looked at everyone. Looking at Lord Castellan, he gives him a nod to give a full report of the situation. As the reports go on, the proximity alarms go off as the radar had detected a massive fleet coming out of the warp. Izuku, it seems our enemy is here. Sound the alarms, prepare the fortress guns, and get to your positions immediately. Ursakar E. Creed. Yes, my lord. Waits a minute. A massive ship has appeared with the fleet. I have never seen a ship like that before. Izuku. I know that ship. A Blackstone fortress, one of the deadliest ships ever. Raise the planet shield quickly before it fires, and activate the new one I gave to you now. Guardsmen begin to activate the shield protocols as it starts to cover the planet when a large buildup of energy begins to see on the fortress. The Mechanicum that was on Cadia work hard to get the first planetary shield ups until the machine spirit help and activate it. Within seconds, both shields go up when the huge blast hits the first shield, destroying it, but being deflected by second. In space before the blast strike. Abaddon massive fleet has just arrived in the Cadian sector as the small Imperium fleet began to attack, but they were wiped out without remorse. The Chaos fleets moved through the destroy ships, with Abaddon flagship moving in clearly the way for the Blackstone fortress that just came out the warp. Looking at the planet of Cadia, Abaddon knew the importance of the planet and wanted it to destroy quickly. Abaddon, get the fortress in position and activate a gun. I want this planet to destroy now. They're getting closer to figuring out the spires. Chaos Fleet Commander. Yes, Warmaster, begin power sequence fire on the planet when ready. As they fleet positions itself to watch the fortress build up its power, till they saw a shield forming around the planet. Abaddon telling the fortress commander to fire now before the shield covers the planet. As the fortress power was full, it fires its massive energy beam. But it was too late as the shield came into place. Angers by the failed attempt, he orders another blast to knock out the shield, but it was deflected again by the new improved shields. In anger, he orders his troops to begin drop podding onto the planet and attack the fortress of Cadia, known as Kazarkrof. The skies in Cadia begin to blacken by the sight of drop pods making their way to the planet. As the battle had begun with thousands of anti-air fire began to shoot into the skies, fortress guns and Izuku forces began their assault, destroying thousands of pods, making the first wave of attackers weakened by the assault. The ones that had landed on the surface began to charge at the front lines, but were gunned down quickly thanks to the Lehman Russ Punishers that were positioned on the line. They were able to melt down Chaos forces and Astartes thanks to their new advanced guns. Abaddon angers by this send down more waves of forces. As they drop, the anti-air guns continue their job to hold off the drop pods from landing. Though many were destroyed, most still made it to the surface, and thus the battle for Cadia had begun. The forces of Chaos, the demons, the heretics, and the Chaos Astartes began their march towards the line, charging forth from where they landed. The Lemon Rust Punishers began to fire on the approaching enemy forces as they were being melted down by the fire and pinned. From above, shells from the artillery corps began to rain down on them. The traitors' force were having a difficult time getting towards the line, but they kept pushing using cultists that joined them as meat shields. As the Black Legion Astartes finally got close to the front line, the Militarum began to open their guns, finishing them off one by one. This shocked the traitor Astartes due to them being gods in their eyes, but seeing normal men live them with puny lasguns. One that got through the hellfire were quickly cut down by Death Watch Astartes that joined the line, protecting the Militarum forces. Hours of deadly fighting passed as thousands of bodies lie on the planet on all fronts. The Cadians then death-watched Sisters of Battle. The Terminator squads that were fighting were being attacked by demons that managed to get through, finishing men and women. But they did not falter, they fought harder and with more ferocity. Luckily, help was on the way as the battle on the surface was happening in space. The ambush was set off with the rocks being used to crush ships of Abaddon fleet, damaging a few until Izuku fleet started fire upon them. Bombers and fighters crews on the vessels began their attack runs as 3 squads of bombers and fighters began their journey to the planet's surface. The others were attack abandoned fleet, damaging and destroying many ships. As bombers see the situation, they began to bomb the traitor forces, finishing many of them with their new scatter bombs. Fighters coming in after to strike them, finishing many, as while some deal with the flying demons that were attacking the lines. 3 days later. 3 days of deadly fighting. The men on the line never falter, never retreated. They had fought hand to hand with the traitors. The Krieg Cadians and Cadians forces fought with valor and bravery, sacrificing themselves to save each other and keep the enemy at bay. The injured being cared for after the charges by the Sisters of Battle, who condemned the bravery of the militarum and their own sisters that fought side by side with them and fell with them as well. Still, they continue after the battles on all line to do repairs on the line and continue their drills. In space it was as deadly as it was on the surface. Thousands of ships' parts were floating around as ships to ships were still battling, but with Izuku forces doing more damage and winning the battle in space. But traitor forces continue to flood in to help Abaddon fleet, making it a little difficult for Izuku loyalist fleet, but thankfully the battle stations that were brought along help repair ship and brought heavy firepower destroying ships. Some of the stations were using the new advance heavy, trying to break through the shield of the Blackstone Fortress, but the shields on that ship were tougher than they thought, but they didn't falter. Back on the surface, the traitor forces began to retreat from attack the fortress and now began to head towards the pillars being defended. Abaddon, finally seeing the situation, commits the full Black Legion that are still arrive at the planet himself. Landing using the warp, he leads his men to where the pillars are, noticing the line of defenders. Abaddon, seeing this, told his men to begin the attack on the line, to break them, kill them, and leave none behind to retreat. Izuku noticed the movement and ordered 1 line to remain near the fortress, 2 line to move with him through the webway and the battle sisters, and the last line to begin to march towards them from the rear. Titans that were still operational and the Knights began to march with the last line to attack Abaddon forces from the rear. Izuku and his 2 lines enter the webway to the line of the pillars, finding out it already being attacked, as Izuku rushed his men forward to help with the defense. Hours went by as ammo was completely both sides, losing thousands of men. Empty ammo cases lay on the land on both sides. The traitors pull back and try to regroup, seeing the losses they suffer. Abaddon was furious by this and looked to see if they finally gave up, but the guard did not falter. Izuku, seeing the tide turn to his favor for the moment, gave orders to his commissars to prepare the men for a charge. Commissar Elise and Peter, seeing the situation in hand, began to speak to their remaining men and women. Right flank. Commissar Elise. Men and women of the 5th Company, this is the moment we all waited for. You will not falter, you do not fear, and you will not give a single step. Left flank. Commissar Peter. Although our emperor is another planet on his golden throne, his son is here watching us fight for his father, watching us do our duty. Middle of the line. Izuku. Today you have shown your bravery and loyalty not only to me, but to your emperor as well, going far beyond your duty as guardsmen, as battle sisters, as Astartes. Izuku turns on a speaker, so now the entire line can hear his next words. Izuku. Fight, and my father fights with you. I ask for one thing from you all, my son. Daughters of the Imperium, hold the line. Izuku. For every one of you that fall, we will make them pay with 10 of their own. Only in death your duty end. Astartes, sister and militarum, cheering by the inspirational words. Randon Guardsman. It's a good day to die for the Imperium, sir. If the Emperor wills it, so it will be done. Random Cadian troop. We won't let you down, my lord, we swear it. Ursarkari. Creed walks next to Izuku, asking for him to speak to his men and to the others. Izuku steps to the side to let him speak to his men that are eager to fight. Ursarkar. Men, this is the hour of your calling. This is what you are here for, trained for, and to die for. This is the reason why you are alive. The Emperor needs you. His son needs you, and I need you. You are the Imperial Guard. No defeat, no fear, no hesitation. We will fight till our last breath, till not a single one of us are left. It is what we do best. We die standing. The men cheer at the speech from both commanders as the men line up shoulder to shoulder with the Commissar on the flanks and Izuku, giving one command. Izuku, Commissars, Sarker, fix bayonets. Izuku takes out the Emperor's sword that he has carried since the day he was given it, lifting it up with his wings appearing behind him, pointing to the traitors, and Abaddon giving the signal. Izuku, follow me, man, charge. Commissar Peter, glory to the first man to die, shoots his bolters at the traitor forces. Izuku and the Loyalist force charge at the traitor lines. Abaddon and his force recovery and see the charge coming, not prepare in time to counter, took the blunt of the attack as close-range fighting commences. Astartes and traitor forces clashes with. Their chainsword and katana clash as each was taking each other out, guardsmen's jumping onto the traitors and their Astartes finishing them with their bayonets. But they were suffering losses too. Saint Celestine saw that Izuku was fighting to head to Abaddon, so she led the sisters into the fray, using their jet pack them land on top of the demons to begin to slaughter them. Ones that had ammo remaining began to fire on the demons using their bolters, and Melta finishing hundreds of them before landing an attack with their chain swords. An hour of battle passed as thousands of bodies laid across the field. Izuku was fighting the demons, cutting them, slicing them, as he got closer to Abaddon until a message came into his helmet. Izuku, this is Lord Izuku. Speak quickly. Attack demons in a circle with a wide swipe dash. Belisarius call. My lord, me and Trazyn have finally unlocked the way to use the pillions, but with the attack, we won't be able to activate it without them being destroyed. Izuku, that is good that you were able to both figure it out, and I had a feeling I had sent a scout to give you devices, put them on the pillions, blocks an attack, and kills the traitor Astartes. Trazyn, and what will this device do when we put it on the pillars? Izuku, I have a feeling that Abaddon will do something drastic, and the device will teleport the pillars to new stations I had prepared for them. Belisarius call. My lord, that if those are the stations that we designed, this will be dangerous and may kill you. Izuku, I know, but for the Imperium, I will do what must be done to protect, is as father entrusted me to. Now the scout will be there soon, so get ready to teleport with the pillions and finish the preparations. Belisarius/Trazyn. Very well, we will finish the preparations as we await you. As the scout finally got to them, they prepare the transport of the pillions, and the scout informed them other pillions were already marked, and they were ready to teleport to the special stations they will be placed on when they arrive. On the battlefield, as Izuku and Loyalist continue to fight for their lives, rumbling can be heard over the horizon. As both sides look, they see two flags standing. It was a line of guardsmen and Astartes. Abaddon, thinking it was reinforcement that finally made it to the surface, told his troops to push them back and slaughter them all. But shock show on his face, seeing it wasn't reinforcement for his. A flag of Cadia stood proud, as next to them a yellow flag with a first showing that Loyalist arrived. The Imperial fist was now on Cadia. Guardsmen yell as they began to charge towards the traitor lines with Imperial first forces, traitors being killed by hundreds due to the bolter fire, revering their chain swords as they clash with traitor forces across the line. Sadly, the Titan and Knights legions did not make it in the battle on the way to the pillars. Torgaradon, Lord Izuku, we apologize for the late arrival. Our fleet and the phalanx are supporting your fleet, as we only have one company with us. Finishing a traitor Astartes with his chainsword. Izuku, it is good you arrive. Has the support ships arrived to evacuate the fourth line, and are my special stations here? Torgaradon, my lord, your ships are about to enter the system. As we speak, Abaddon fleet had lost more ships. He won't be able to hold his position much longer. Sir, report came in, your ships have arrived. In space. As Torgaradon fleet had arrived moments ago, they began to attack Abaddon fleet as the phalanx itself began to attack the Blackstone Fortress. As some men got on Thunderhawks and headed to the planet to join the fray, they spotted the third line battle a rear guard. As Titans battle each other, they land next to them to support them. Though while doing so, a demon gate had opened on the phalanx, and the third company that remained to defend the station started to fight against them, leading to another battle on two fronts. A space station nearby noticed the demon energy, and Psychers of the Death Watch headed to a transport to support third company of Iron Fist. A massive fleet came out from hyperspace with 7 specially designed ships. These ships were built to use the Necron technology thanks to Trazyn and Eldari due to learning what these Pillions were meant to do. The new ships opened fire with their heavy ship turrets, missile pods, and regular cannons, destroying tons of traitor ships. The Phalanx damage moves away from the Blackstone Fortress as those same ships began their barrage on the fortress, finally breaking their shield. All ships that weren't fighting the fleet began to fire on the massive ship, breaking it piece by piece, finally cracking it as it broke apart. The force of the explosion disturbed the warp that it made the demons that were fighting start to disappear into the warp once again, making Abaddon lose a significant amount of his fighting force. Knew the battle was lost, but he would make sure the Cadians would pay the cost for it. Cadia. Abaddon was struggling himself as he was battle against Izuku and Saint Celestine. Now losing his chaotic forces, he knew the battle was lost, but made sure to use his power and injure Celestine. Izuku, seeing this, works with Ursakar to distract Abaddon before he could kill Celestine as guardsmen line up and charge to protect her as well. Celestine looks and see that Izuku and Ursakar were distracting Abaddon with attacks and strikes with their weapons. Getting up slowly, she gathers her strength and thrust right into Abaddon. Screaming in pain, he sees the wound was too great and teleported back to his ship. Being attended by Apothecary, he sees that his massive fleet was basically destroyed with so few ships remaining. The biggest shock was seeing the Blackstone Fortress completely destroy, but seeing a large chunk of it floating. Abaddon. Commander tells out ships to ram into that fortress, send it into the planet. Let us finish this planet and return to the Eye with what we have remaining. Traitor Commander. And our forces, sir, what about them? Should we not try to being choked by Abaddon? Abaddon. I do not care for what remains. Do as I command before I skin you alive. Throws him back onto his chair. Traitor Commander. Yes, my lord, I apologize. Gets on Vox. Ships that remain ram into the fortress, send it into the planet. 12 ships gather and others did their best to cover them. Ramming into the fortress, they went full throttle on their thrusters and slowly began to send the fortress in the planet. Space stations saw what was happening and did their best to stop them from doing their plan, but it was difficult with other ships protecting them. They rushed to inform their leader and inform all stations to begin evacuations procedures immediately. As PLAs were rushing to the transport ships and began to depart each station to head to the surface with the fourth line that volunteer to defend the others as they retreat. A start that heard of the situation began their Thunderhawks and rushed to the planet. Commanders kept order all guns to destroy the ships, but it was difficult. One commander decided to contact Lord Izuku to inform him of the situation. Space Station Commander. My Lord Izuku, come in. This is Omega level alert. Izuku. What is wrong, Commander? Blocking and finishing more traitors. What the Omega level alert? Space Station Commander. Abaddon is using ships to ram the fortress into the planet. You need to evacuate the men now before it hits. Izuku was shocked by the news. He knew Abaddon wanted to destroy the planet, but to take it to this lengths. He shouts orders for all the like to reform near the pillars and defend them. Izuku. Commander, how long do we have before impact? We need to get these men out of here. Space Station Commander. Honestly, sir, we have about 10 minutes max before impact. Ships should be landing near you soon. Get them in and out quickly. As ships broke through the cloud cover, they launch a barrage of rockets and heavy bolter fire on the traitors. 10 ships had landed, opening their hatches. The fourth line that was near the fortress rush out with some of Izuku Terminators. Seeing the new line form, Ursarker took command and began the defense in all the sectors so they others may retreat. Ursarker. My lord, I will stay with the line, help with the evacuation of the injured and the rest of the men. Take them to safety. Izuku. Lord Castellan. Ursakar, are you sure you want to do this? Ursarker. Yes, my lord. Cadia is my home. To leave is to be a coward to not just my men, but those who gave their lives on this planet for 10,000 years. Izuku gives him a nod and orders line to head to the ships and prepare for extract. As the fourth line fresh and ammo began to defend the line on all fronts as troops and the injured were being loaded. More ships arrive while taking fire from the traitors as flying demons were getting close to them until they were shot out of the sky by fighters that escorted them in and out. The second line began to move towards the ships until a sudden shaking a crew. Looking up at the sky, they saw the Blackstone Fortress entering the surface of the world. The Cadians did not panic and continue to fall back in order even with the fortress getting closer. Third rows of ship have begun to arrive as the second one with escorts were leaving heading to one of the space stations. Sadly though, this was the last of the escorts that could make due to the fact the stone fortress had made impact on the planet hitting the fortress of Kazarkrof. The planet shook with ferocity as the planet started to crumble apart. Izuku, seeing what happened, pressed a button teleporting the pillions to the special ships and the third line struggling to get onto the ships to evacuate. Deathwatch members started to help carry many of the injured of the third line onto the ships as Izuku watched and carry some himself. Turning around after laying the injured on a bench, he rushed out and ordered the fourth to begin their evacuation. The fourth, though, did not move as they continued to fire upon the enemy that was left. Watching some of the traitors fall into the planet as it slowly crept to them, Ursarker turned to Izuku. Ursarker, my lord, you must leave and do your duty to stop the warp from engulfing the galaxy. We will stay and fight them till the end. Izuku. Ursarker, I can't just leave you and your men like this. We still have room on the ships and enough time to get you out. Cracks began to develop around the area of the ships, and two took off to head back to the stations. The ground shook below them as Izuku tried to reach Ursarker and his men to get them on board. Ursarker, my lord, as the Lord Castilian commander, I must see my duty to the end. Only in death does my duty end, and the men with me has accepted their fate as well. Ursarker, all I ask is that you find a new home for the ones that have made it and help my people with rebuilding. Keep our legend alive. Cadian stance. Ursarker orders his men to gather together and give it their all. Izuku gets on the last transport there and closes the hatch, slowly watching the Cadians fight till the end as his ship begin to lift off and head back to the station. The last image he saw was one of bravery and duty as he asks one of the guardsmen next to him to write down what he about to say. Izuku, to each of us falls a task. Looks at the guardsmen and his battle sons that made it to the ship, and all the emperors ask of his sons and his guardsmen that we stand the line and die fighting. It's what we do best, we die standing. As it was written down, the guardsmen asked if he could copy it to show the others that made it. Izuku agreed as it was written down again. As the ship made it out of the surface, they could feel the warp engulfing the sector. The power of chaos was unleashed, but Izuku was not done with the fight yet. Dropping off the injured and guardsman, Izuku took the shuttle he was in and flew to Station 7 that was in front of the others. Landing there, he saw Belisarius and Trazyn finishing the final calculations for what Izuku wanted to do. Izuku, Trazyn, I want to thank you for assisting us. From your understanding, these pillions are anti-physic field emitters. That's why Chaos always had trouble entering from the warp. Trazyn, indeed, that's why Cadia was so important, and now with it gone, the warp storms are growing, and it may cut the galaxy in half, separating your so-called Imperium. Izuku, no, I will not allow that. Belisarius, is it ready to activate, so I may do what I must? Belisarius, yes. Lord Izuku, the Pillion's energy was stored into this station, but for what you are about to do, I calculate that you have a 2.3% of getting out in time. Izuku, I will make it. My father entrusted me with protecting the Imperium. I will not fail him. No, both of you head to the transport and get onto my flagship Trazyn. If you want to watch the result of this station, please do. But if not, I do have gifts for you and your collection. Trazyn, I will stay and document from your ship. This will be the finest piece of my collection to see the results of what you plan. Izuku gives him a nod as he and Belisarius head to the ship with the crew of the station. As Izuku takes control, he activates the thruster and began to head towards the warp stop. Abaddon fleet still is above the destroyed planet of Cadia. See the station moving towards the storm, reading an incredible amount of energy on it. Abaddon order what ships remains to attack, as the Chaos Gods have warned him if that ships get close it will be all over for the gods. As the ships got close, ready to begin to fire all weapons, they were hit on their sides, destroying them or damaging them further. Abaddon looks and see the stations that had the pillions on them open fire with their heavy turrets and cannons, destroying what was left in his fleet. Even the void shield on Abaddon flagship were NP match for the firepower of the guns, and his ship's engines were hit, leaving it stall in the vast grave of ships. Izuku, with the cover of the battle station's guns, continue towards the center of the storm, activating an explosive sequence. 10-minute countdown began as he rushed towards the hangar bay kill demons that appear in the station along the way. 9 minutes passed as he finally reached the bay and enter his personal fighter. Beginning takeout sequence, he notices a greater demons blocking his escape. With little time left, he activated his thruster, charging at the demon, shooting it with bolter fire. With the demons, he flies out of it and heads towards his fleet that is waiting for him. Admiral Haru awaits the return of his lord that his family has been surveying for the millennium. As they see his personal fight come out the station, they witness the station being engulfed by the warp until a loud explosion occurs. The Admiral orders all ships and station full power to shields and cover down to protect themselves from the space debris. Minutes passed till the sensor said the shock waves were over as the shield and covers were lowered to the shock of the crews of the space stations, and fleet the Eye of Terra was basically almost gone. Only a very small planet-size hole was left, but the Admiral had other things to focus on, as in finding if their lord had survived. Admiral Haru, send out search parties now, find the lord ship and bring him back on the double. As the crews rush toward the salvaged ships, they begin to look through the field of broken ships as one spots a lone fighter in the debris. Getting close, they found it was their lord's ship, and he seemed to be just knocked out from the impact of the blast. Slowly bringing him into the ship, they return him to the main battle station. Days later, as everyone was worried for their lord, his brothers arrive on Mustafar to come check on his progress, while also getting a report on what happened to cause this. Reading the report about what happened on Cadia, they inform their allies the Eldari and the Tau that were there to check on Izuku as well. Entering his chamber, they were shocked to see him fully up and looking around, seeing each other. Izuku, hello my brothers, how long was I out, what happened? Gilliman, Izuku, you're awake, thank the Emperor you've been out for a few days. Vulcan, yes, after you launched the station into the warp and stopped, many things happened in all fronts. Izuku, oh no, the fleet that was with me, what has happened to them, and the Cadians that were with us? Tries to rush out the room, but was stopped by Rogel Dash. Rogel, calm yourself Izuku, the fleet had no damage. The Cadians were safe except for the fourth line that stood and fought till the end. Rogel, you saved many that day, and they are thankful. As for the rest of the Cadian regiments, they were brought here, rest refitted, and sent to their new home planet. They are eternally grateful Izuku for saving them and letting them fight for their planet, and now to fight for their new one, they already want to be deployed to battlefields, so Sanguinius sent them, so they may honor you. Izuku, and the Eye of Terra, what happened to it? Corvus, first what you did was crazy and never heard of you, could have been killed little brother, but in the end, you gotten rid of the influence chaos from all over, and the warp storms that surrounded Cadia and other parts disappear. Magnus, as us Psychers felt the force, it gave us a boost in our power, and in all sectors the demons that were in this world all returned back into the eye, giving our forces and allies the ability to reclaim lost territory and cleanse them of chaos influence. Alfarius/Omegon, our spies in the chaos forces also confirmed the warp influence have left them, and it has caused a great damage on their forces. Conrad, not even Abaddon is able to control them well, and from my spies they are fighting each other for power now, basically finishing each other off, and our forces are moving in. Izuku was shocked about all the news that was happening as he decided to step outside his room to get fresh air, but was shocked to see the people of the planet outside his window cheering for him and his victory. As his men and Cadian were there kneeling, giving him a salute, as others follow suit, seeing the people of his planet bow. Izuku, citizen, please do not bow. My son Cadians do not bow as well. It without you that we would have not won this victory. It was you all who gave all in lives, in working in the factories and field that deserve this victory. Izuku, we must honor those who gave their lives in the battle and praise them, the sons, daughters of the Imperium. Without them, we would not have this victory. Izuku takes a small step back for everyone to see as he slowly, while injured, gets on his knees to bow to the people of the Imperium. The people will honor and return a bow to him for everything that he done for them. Izuku, now people of the Imperium, although chaos has been defeated for now, we know that their gods will find a way to return, and we must prepare ourselves for it. We must continue to train to work, so we may face the threats of the orcs, of the Tyranids, and whoever else comes to face us. Izuku, I ask for your continued support in this matter, so we may prevail with our allies, our friends the Tau and Eldari, to fight back whatever evil that comes to us. Izuku takes out his father's sword and slowly lifts it up with struggle from his injuries, but did not give in and lifted it. Izuku, for the Imperium for the Emperor. Crowd/troops, for the Imperium for the Emperor. The crowd cheering loudly as Izuku struggles to walk back into his bed till his brothers assisted him. The roar of the crowd giving him the hope that he had made his father proud and was keeping his promise. Magnus. Oh, one more thing happened, brother, and you are going to be surprised by this one. Izuku. What do you mean, Magnus? What happened? Magnus. It's better to show you. Goes to the door and opens it with two custodies entering and guarding the sides dash. Footsteps can be heard from the hall. As each step got closer, Izuku was wondering what was happening till the steps were outside his door. The stranger walk in as Izuku's eyes pop out of his head as he quickly stood up and walked closer. The person looks at Izuku with a smile on his face as he looks to see Izuku kneel with the others in front of him. Emperor of mankind. I have returned, my son, and never been prouder of what you have done. So, this was the end of part 4 of this series. Stay tuned for next part of this series, and if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Until next time.